You've been a huge supporter of the women's agenda in Pakistan, and having previously been an overseas Pakistani yourself, you have now returned to the homeland to do your bit. And it's often the case where all of us sitting outside of Pakistan are wondering, what is our bit? But if you could give us a little bit of an idea of what your journey has been.
Sania, you know, I've left Pakistan when I got married, right after finishing college in Pakistan. My husband and I, we moved to the US because we went to school there. We raised a family there. And Alhamdulillah, God has been kind. We've traveled the world since. My husband by profession is a banker. And after we had completed studying in the US, and we moved on to the Middle East and to other parts of the world where he was working. And I've been very fortunate in that I have traveled, I have met a lot of people. I think I've learned a lot along the way. And you know, no matter where we are and what part of the world we live in, we are Pakistanis. That's the way I feel. And I think that each and every Pakistani who's living out of Pakistan overseas is an ambassador for Pakistan. And people judge Pakistan by the way every individual Pakistani conducts themselves abroad, no matter what profession they belong to and howsoever, you know, they are functioning in their lives there. I've been very fortunate that I have always taken a very keen interest in charitable programs, and I'm happy that I was able to host a small fundraising event in Bahrain when we lived there, when Imran Khan, right after his World Cup win. Came to Bahrain.
I don't think anyone could forget that.
Right. I mean, that was just a great achievement. Yeah. And my brother, Sahibzada Jahangir, who lives in London, is a friend of Imran Khan's for many years. And he phoned me and told me that he's coming to Bahrain with Imran Khan to raise money for the cancer hospital, which was not even on the ground at the time. All that you know, we had were just architect plans and maps. So that is how I started with Shaukat Khanum. I'm a long-time volunteer. Imran Khan came to Bahrain. I'm very happy that I was able to host an event where we raised a substantial amount of money, and ever since, and it's been a long time now, I have been involved with Shaukat Khanum. And naturally, when Imran Khan established his political party in Pakistan, I am one of the very first people in the party, and I've been involved. I've seen a lot through the prism of politics. I've learned a lot along the way, and you and I know that no matter where women may be in the world and what societies they belong to, there are gender disparities. There are issues that need to be tackled as far as empowering them and making them effective to play their roles in societies.
So, मेरे ख्याल Fauzia, ये बहुत अहम है ये कहना और reminding people that gender inequality is not a Pakistan-specific issue. It is part of the developing world. And Pakistan, unfortunately, for right or wrong reasons, we get really bad press outside of Pakistan. And it's a struggle for overseas Pakistanis to contend with that and keep the hope and keep the focus going. Okay, no, Pakistan's not a gone case, and no, there are things to celebrate in Pakistan. And I think what I'd like to raise is the contradiction of our country, where we've had female leaders, we have female fighter pilots, we have female judges, we have female human rights activists, Jai Asma Jahangir, leaders of UPFA, which was established sort of partition days by Fatma Jinnah herself. We've had strong female role models, yet we still struggle with appalling gender development indicators in the region. I mean, we have the lowest in the region.
Right.
So we are still suffering by sort of a Malay in our society which is endemic. Yet there's much to celebrate as far as female leadership is concerned. Where do you think we could be going wrong?
No, I agree with you. You've said it right. You know, it is true, Sanya. We've had some brilliant women in Pakistan in practically every field. And how many countries of the world can boast to have a woman Prime Minister?
Bilkul.
We've had
And
it.
in a Muslim country.
In a Muslim
Ji.
country. And we've had it. So the point is that despite all these, the challenges of institution building in Pakistan have never been taken seriously. There has never been a will on the part of successive governments and policy makers to actually address that. It is the most important thing. You see, its institutions outlive individuals. We need to have those in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And I think this is the main problem, where to attain sustainable development in any country of the world, you need to have the right policies in place, you need to have mechanisms, you need to have institutions who make those policies, and then we need to have the implementation of those policies. If you look at the West, for the longest time, women did not have a right to vote in the United States of America. Yeah. It's one of the oldest democracies in the world.
And even in Britain, less than 150 years ago,
exactly,
the suffragettes brought about the voting right for women.
But it's been a struggle, and the fact that women are powerful, women are intelligent, they are passionate, and they feel about what's happening in their communities and in their countries. I think this is something very encouraging, and so women fight for their right.
Bilkul.
And this is what we're trying to do in Pakistan. Now, you know, Sania, very quickly, I just want to say this. Say, even in Pakistan being a Muslim country, for those of your viewers who may not have heard this or know this, Islam itself is a religion that gives a lot of rights to women. Then the Constitution of Pakistan has established those rights for women. You know, on paper it's all there. It's when we get to the implementation, it's when we get to the part where strong and powerful legislation is needed, you know, to back and to support those rights. That is where we lack.
Absolutely.
So this is what we need to work on, and this is what we are working. And as a political activist in Pakistan, you know, I feel very strongly about this myself.
Bilkul.
And I think that it's a very positive thing that I belong to a political party, which is the Justice for Movement, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, which is headed by Imran Khan, who has the will. This is a platform that the party has given to the youth and women of Pakistan to stand up and let their voices be heard. But regardless, it is an effort. It'll be a long effort that we have to make.
It's a journey.
Yes, it will be. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But at least we have a platform for where we can speak.
Fauzia, you touched upon institutions. During the Musharraf era, there was a huge growth of female representatives at the National Assembly. For the first time, certainly in my generation, I grew up in Pakistan and in England, and during Zia's sort of era, you know, the female voice was non-existent. So suddenly there was a real buzz in the air that we've got more female MPs or MNAs, and there's visually more representation. But as you said, institutionally, the female voice is still lacking where implementation is concerned. So how do you create the political will beyond PTI? How do you create the political will to ensure the female voice is in legislation, it is in policy, and it is in delivery?
Yes. Sanya, you brought up a very, very valid and important question. You see, what happens is that this was a good measure. It was something which facilitated the entry of women into Parliament, and, you know, trying to sort of create the environment for them to get on board and become part of policy making and legislation in Pakistan. But we need to go further than this now, because see, what happens is the reason that women's rights, or you know, when we talk about women empowerment, didn't really happen because of this is that the majority of these women who are nominated on a reserved quota to the Parliament, these are women who don't necessarily have the expertise, who don't have the experience, they have not actually worked, they do not belong to any specific constituencies, you know, that they represent. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that there is a big question mark on the representation itself.
So
these
you're
are women
saying-
who are coming from affluent families.
Bilkul.
These are women who have the backing of powerful political people, and
But
it's
that
like a
doesn't
gift.
translate to influence. So
Exactly.
influence when change is made.
So you see, they're not able to influence that because they do not come on their own steam.
Bilkul.
It's something that is like a gift given to them, and political parties just nominate whoever they want, ending up in the parliament on the reserved quota for women's seats. So Imran Khan himself has said this, and our party is a great advocate, and I am personally myself too. There should be a certain mechanism of an election to these reserve seats. Reserve seats are good, they are there, they have been set aside for women to become parliamentarians. But which women from the political parties, from the respective political parties, go to represent the women of Pakistan, there should be a criterion of selection, a very positive and strong criteria,
Yes.
based on merit, based on their work, based on their contribution in society or for their political parties. So that is something important. There must be some mechanism of an election, either in the political parties or maybe a direct election. I personally feel that it should be made mandatory for all political parties to have at least to allocate 30%, considering that the women population of Pakistan is more than half of its 180 million people comprise of women, are nearly like 51-52% of the population. I think at least 30% of those general election
Should be allocated.
tickets should be allocated to women. They should be supported, they should, by the party, financially and otherwise. They should be encouraged to play their role, and they should come through an electoral process. And that will make the difference then, because they have a constituency, they have an electorate, they have people that they are answerable to, not their political parties. They do not answer to the leaders in their party, but they answer to the people who have voted for them and put them in that slot.
Bilkul. So beyond the sort of constituency, electioneering and parliamentary process, how do we tackle the objectification of women that is very endemic in the Pakistani culture? And many argue that this is inherited from our sort of pre-Islamic Hindu roots, whatever you wish to call it. But we are now in 2013. We are now in the 21st century. Though we are 64 years old as a nation, our heritage is hundreds of thousands years old. Why are we not evolving like many of our neighbors, where their GDIs have gone through the roof because they've understood the contribution that women have and the role that women have, they acknowledge it in society. Yet Pakistan struggles still with the objectification of women. And though we have strong female leadership evident, though women are making a difference in their field in Pakistan, as a society, we are struggling with this. And I think this permeates right down to the bottom strata of society, where women are never going to get those breaks that we feel their right, their basic human right is there, whether it's education or access to work and employment and to better themselves. How do we start tackling this really key, and again, no solution overnight,
Right,
clearly,
I
but
know.
but to actually start to look at how do we, and yourself as someone who represents and works for gender equality.
You know, Sania, I think, darling, that the most important thing is education, number one. You have to educate your people. I'm talking in general. Women, traditionally, all over the world, have been considered the weaker sex. They are financially, well, I won't speak of the Western world here now, I'll speak of women in our part of the world, or in Muslim societies, due to some social and traditional barriers, you know, that do not allow the growth of their development, who do not provide or make provision for their education, for their involvement in mainstream politics in their countries. You know, various factors. It all boils down to educating, bringing about that awareness with an urgency, that women have rights, that women are equal citizens, that there should be a gender balance. These are things, and when we speak of educating the women in Pakistan, I also actually am a great advocate of educating the men. I think the men in Pakistan need to be made aware of the rights of the women and need to respect and realize that these are equal citizens in the country. So education is the number one priority. It opens doors. It brings about awareness, it brings about tolerance, acceptance. Everything is linked to education. It is very important that in Pakistan we need to pay serious attention. In the past, as you have seen and know, education has never really played an important role. People talk about it, governments have spoken about it. But less than 3% of the...
I think 2.3% of Pakistan's GDP is spent on
education. Is all that goes to education.
And not much more on health. So
absolutely.
For 180 million people, 65% living under poverty level.
Yes, absolutely.
You've got a serious problem there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you see, this is where I feel very positive and hopeful about Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, because here we have a government in KPK, which is a province, one of the most difficult provinces in Pakistan, if I may say,
and
to govern.
A lot of recent conflict.
Yes, absolutely. But in the budget that our KPK government, the assembly has just approved, nearly 30 to 35% of the resources have been allocated to education. And we're talking nearly about rupees, about 180 billion rupees. Yes. No, sorry, 18 billion rupees.
Yes.
It's a lot of money for Pakistan. So the point is that we have to bring education, because, you know, most of the gender empowerment work that we're going to start, although it is needed all over Pakistan, but we're going to start from KPK because that is where we have the PTI's government. There's over 2 million children who are out of school presently in the province. So, you know, we have to make education available for them. We have schools that are non-functional, a vast majority of the schools. And also, what is to be noted is that there's a very small percentage of schools that are in the urban areas. Majority of them are in the rural areas of Pakistan, as in KPK as well. And you know, we need to do so much by way of education. We need to have a proper curriculum for them. We need to make our schools functional. You know, there are schools that have no furniture, the infrastructure is very poor, there's no clean drinking water available for the children, there's no teacher training courses. I mean, it's just like a Pandora's box. You open it and honestly, the resources are limited, but the need is enormous. But inshallah, with a strong political will, we will make it happen. We will make a beginning and we will attempt on educating. So I think education is number one. You know, when we talk of women or even gender empowerment, I think it is very important to take healthcare into consideration. Because, you know, like it has been said, healthy mothers will make a healthy nation. You know, there has to be...
and as the animated cut that we showed the audience before we came into interview by Plan International, very much how ensuring you educate the girl child and keep her healthy, she will be a more empowered and healthier mother. And pursue literacy for her children and future generations. And that's something that's been evident in Sri Lanka. I mean, again, as you know, Sri Lanka faced 30 decades of civil war. But they very recently, or I would say in the last 10 years, realized that they need to start investing in their female population, similar demographics to Pakistan. And as soon as they did that, they have now the highest GDI rates and the highest female literacy rate in the region. So their economy has risen, their household familial income levels have shot up through the roof, and general well-being. So it's notwithstanding that Pakistan doesn't have the ingredients to do well. You've already mentioned very sort of briefly political will. So in the 64 years we've been around, we frankly haven't seen the political will to invest in the people of Pakistan. So coming back to the core topic, within the people of Pakistan, the female cohort, we have seen where microfinance, where community level trade and artisan investment has been made, whether it's the Aga Khan Rural Support Program, RSPN, Sangi, Sabha, which are all locally run and quite widespread and respected NGOs. They've invested directly in female householders and they've seen massive change. So I'd like to understand, how can we keep that going forward and how can we ensure the next generation is engaged? Because as you know, Pakistan has a very young population as well. So it's really key that the mistakes of the past don't get translated forward, and how can we ensure the gender debate continues?
You know, you're absolutely right. Now, if we only speak about KPK, I'll speak about KPK, although this is a pattern which is common to all of Pakistan. With a population, it has a population of about 22.2 million people presently, according to the 2009 statistics that are available to us. It has a very young population, and we have about 3 million Afghan refugees in the province as well. 72% of the population is under the age of 35, out of which 47% are under the age of 15. So, you know, we have a huge youth bulge in all of Pakistan, but specifically in KPK as well. Healthcare facilities are totally inadequate. There are so many maternal mortality.
Pakistan has the highest again.
The MMR, the maternal mortality rate is so high. We have nearly 220 or so per year and more maybe deaths that take place out of 1,000 live births. You know, the women need healthcare facilities. They need postnatal and prenatal care. They need medicines are needed. We need clean drinking water, which is a huge problem. It's a critical issue in Pakistan, and especially in KPK, where, you know, they have research has shown that the water is contaminated with a lot of fecal bacteria that is found in the water. Yes, and you know, there's so much pollution in the ground and surface water, also because of the floods that we've had. Then there are, you know, leaking sewage pipelines, and those are mingling with the water. So the point is that all these are leading to rampant diseases, whether it is the inability of our health workers to administer polio drops to the children where it is needed, or, you know, whether it is hepatitis, whether it is diarrhea. You know, there was a study by UNICEF in which they said that 60% of the hospital beds that are occupied by patients, these are patients who are there because of water-related diseases. So, I mean, you know, everything is so
the health
linked.
burden could be reduced by 50% if the water sanitation.
If the water could be cleaned, absolutely. And then no sanitation services, you know, no awareness of sanitation programs. I mean, it's a whole list of things that needs to be done. And I think that all this is again part of bringing about awareness about education through programs, through television, through personal contacts, getting people out into the field, going into the villages, training women, and especially I say women because they're mothers. You know, nearly every day on a daily basis, women and youth, mostly women in the rural areas, travel at least 3 to 4 kilometers a day, several times a day sometimes, to fetch water for their house. For their
and that's
homes.
Just water. The firewood separate.
Exactly, they're the logs and the other things.
And then livestock ko dekhna.
And plus, these are women who are also a major contributor to the agricultural setup in Pakistan. You know, they work out in the fields, then they work in their homes. They need to be educated. They need to be facilitated. We need to have programs in place. And you're right. I mean, thankfully for all these wonderful NGOs that are working in Pakistan. But you see, policies have to be made at the government level, because that is how we can reach out.
Because the responsibility lies with the state.
And make an impact, you know, in society. It's very important.
Well, with recent and very globally covered incident with Malala Yousafzai and her attempted murder and her ongoing campaign as a young woman pushing for girls' education in Pakistan, her phenomenal speech at the UN just a couple of months ago, she's become now the global poster girl and UN ambassador for education. And she continues to strive to invest in Pakistan, whether she's sitting in the UK or not. There is a Malala Fund, and I believe currently there is a BBC documentary underway in understanding Malala's campaign and how she's setting up this fund for schooling in the Swat Valley for young girls.
Right.
Recently, also since last October, November, you've seen incidences of shootings of lady health workers trying to administer polio vaccine. You've seen the shootings of lady teachers trying to access children to ensure their education is pursued during the fallout in the conflict zones within KPK in the FATA region. What is the political will or the state position on handling this? Because again, this is an extreme reaction and response to a local problem, but yet where already we have lack of education and health and all the basic resources, this is another layer of a barrier, not sort of disabling our community from accessing these services. So how is the local government getting by this?
Yes. See, the thing is, Sania, you know that terrorism is a big issue in Pakistan. And it has affected and actually crippled life in Pakistan in a certain way. No one is safe anymore. And it's completely out of control. And a very concerted and serious effort has to be made by the government in Pakistan to control this menace, because it is affecting growth in everywhere in Pakistan. Now, Malala, brave young lady, Allah bless her with a long life. I went to see her the day that she was shot. I went to visit with her parents in Peshawar. She was in the ICU at the time, and it was just heartbreaking to see how she was. And thank God that she is up and about and healthy, and inshallah.
And what a voice.
Yes, and she's hopefully she's cut out for wonderful things, and she will really go a long way in promoting education and the empowerment of girls and women in Pakistan. But the thing is, you see, you set up all these schools and we get all these funds, and there are lots of NGOs that are working, and there are lots of foreign donor agencies that want to bring aid for education, for healthcare, for investments in, say, your energy sector, all the things that are very imperative and needed in Pakistan. But if we do not have a secure environment for them to function in, then you see, that is where it all stalls. So terrorism is a very, very serious and grave issue. It needs to be addressed, it needs to be tackled, and I just feel that all political groups in Pakistan, all people of all thoughts in Pakistan need to
get behind this.
And put all their heads together and just find a solution. And very importantly, the civilian government and the military establishment must be on the same page. They have to work on the same page together, collectively. That is the only way to really produce any results.
So Fauzia, a safe environment, a happy environment, an empowered environment for Pakistani women. Going forward, what would be your vision for Pakistan? What would be the game changer that you could possibly, in the next few years, as a female leader, as a person who can attempt to make some of those changes, what would be your vision going forward?
Okay, Sania, first of all, I do want to say this, that Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy to be a woman in Pakistan. And I see you as a Pakistani woman who's not in Pakistan, but you represent the women of Pakistan. The women in Pakistan are brilliant. They're hardworking, conscientious, they're brave, they're passionate, they're good women, they're good mothers and good daughters and good wives. So they have all the essential ingredients for being powerful players in the success of Pakistan. All that they need is to be facilitated. All that they require is that there should be capacity building programs for them. There should be research and documentation to assist them, to facilitate them, and to help them grow in that society. You know, in Pakistan today, I don't think that there is any profession where there are no women. We even have women pilots. We have women who, you know, jumping from the aircrafts and
climbing
as
mountains,
a sport.
bilkul.
They're climbing. Yes, we have a woman who's received an Oscar award.
Absolutely.
So,
Sharmeen Obaid is our rock star.
Absolutely. We have, and of course, we have a tradition of powerful women like Fatma Jinnah and Begum Liaquat Ali Khan and so many others. You know, Benazir Bhutto for that matter. And we have women who've made their presence felt by hard work. So there is great potential, and inshallah, moving forward, like I said to you, we need to build those institutions in Pakistan. We need to give quality education. We need to empower women through politically and economically. You know, women need to have control of assets like credit, like new technology. I mean, these are things that need to be shared with them, and these are things that their political organizations need to share with women. And how effective they will be will depend on how much they are included in the policy making forums of their political parties. I think women should have representation at all tiers in all the forums that make policies. Women should be given effective roles in government. They should not be used, and I don't think that our development policy should consider women or use them as beneficiaries or objects.
But as leaders.
Yeah, they should be the subjects. They should be the people who will be the agents of the change that Pakistan needs. And that is very important. It has to come from the mind. It has to come with strong political will. And I hope and pray, I'm going to do my little bit to raise my voice whenever, wherever I can.
Fantastic.
And I'm so grateful to you for giving me this opportunity of saying all these things.
Thank you. I mean, this is a great opportunity to share those messages with our audience, and TVapex has been really generous to organize this in a very short time frame. And as you've already mentioned, you've been around Europe, you've met with the Pakistani community there, up and down the UK, and I do believe that your sentiments and your views are shared by many, that there is hope and there's much to be celebrated in Pakistan, and going forward we are here to support that vision. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Fauzia.
In conclusion, I would just like to say that peace is what the world needs, what the world talks about and advocates. Maria Montessori, you know, the pioneer of the Montessori system all over the world, she had stated that education is what will bring sustainable peace. The work of politics is to keep us out of war.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with that.
Well said, well said. Thank you very much, Fauzia.
Thank you.
And thank you very much to our viewers for tuning in. The program will be available pre-recorded, and I'm sure the link will be shared out through social media and through our online channel at TVapex. Thank you very much. See you again soon. Bye.